My name is Sean Clarke. I'm 28 years old. I consider myself an athlete, but more of a para-athlete. I enjoy challenges and proving to people that I can actually do things.
You got it?
At the age of 7, I jumped off a roof and kicked my leg through a glass window, severed the back of my knee, which obviously left me with lack of functionality of the left limb, lack of feeling, etc. And coming from this very sporty, active little guy, doctors had to then figure out what it is that I can do from this moment on. And their best advice to me was to swim. And I thought, okay, let me give it a little go. And I was obviously classified as disabled, and it turned out to be such a blessing in disguise because I used swimming as a means to channel the pain and to experience new things. I ended up traveling the world for the South African disabled swimming team. I was lined up to make the 2012 Paralympics. That was my ultimate dream, my ultimate goal at the time. But unfortunately, in 2012, about 6 months before the actual Paralympics, I had an operation called a triple arthrodesis, which is quite a massive operation. What they did was basically break the bones in my foot and the heel and fuse it together with titanium rods, because over the years my foot had deformed. I was walking on the side of my actual foot, almost like a club foot. And the purpose of that operation was to bring the foot more in a neutral position to allow me to walk a little bit easier and maybe give me a little bit of a better quality of life. Missing out on the Paralympics was obviously a massive blow. I remember sitting down in matric and figuring out there must be a positive to this. What can I do? You know, the plan was to always go to maybe an American university and focus on the swimming. But now a new door had opened up. I could now go to Stellenbosch University. I could now experience what my brothers had experienced. I thought, you know, that's a positive. And so I attended university. I still tried to swim, but the motivation unfortunately wasn't there, because I had built up this dream, this goal of going to the 2012 Paralympics. It didn't happen. And to be honest, I didn't want to sacrifice another 4 years of my life to focus solely on one sport. I wanted to channel that energy into various other activities. But everything was holding me back. I didn't have the right equipment for my foot. I was using just a very off-the-shelf rocket socket that allowed my foot to keep in a 90-degree angle. And over a couple of beers, I remember chatting to some guys and they said, listen, we've got an empty spot in our rugby team. It's very social. Why don't you come and join? And this was it. I thought, absolutely, yes, please. And waking up the next morning, I thought, I've committed myself. I need to make this work. How do I make this work? What do I need to do to ensure that my foot doesn't break? Or, you know, it's a very thin foot. It's a very fragile foot. And so you do have to take precautions to ensure that there is no injury. So I was a little bit nervous, and so I strapped up my foot. I used my rocket socket. I played a couple of rugby games and it really felt good. But after a couple of games, what I realized was my ankle was starting to swell. My Achilles was starting to swell. And every time I walked, there was a creak and a croak. And I thought, this cannot be right. There's something up here. After a couple of months, the swelling didn't go down. I made an appointment with my orthopedic surgeon back in Durban. We flew home, we had a look at it. And he basically looked at me and said, because of your injury, because of my dropped foot, my Achilles has tightened and shortened over the years. And I shouldn't be running around. I shouldn't be as active as I am. And so it's obviously creating a bit of tendinitis or whatever the case is. And so I unfortunately had to undergo another operation called a Z lengthening of the Achilles tendon, making it a little bit longer so I have a little bit more range of motion. But a couple of weeks, well, 6 months later, I put on my rugby boots again and carried on playing, and this time I never swelled. So I was very grateful. But it sort of takes me back to everything that I do. It's all about trying to figure out what makes it work for me to actually take part in these activities. The pain the next day is obviously, it's sore. I wake up and the bones are sore, and it's not great. But the experience makes it so much worth it.
What are you going to say, Sean?
Hey, I'm feeling good. Obviously, attending doctors all the time, and I've had the same doctor for many years, and every time I walk in, it's, Sean, what now? You know, please just slow yourself down, relax a little bit, take part in activities that are just less impactful and provides for a little bit more comfort. But I cannot actually do that. I understand that there are many excuses that I can pull to make me stop, and people will understand. People will have no problem with me not giving up, but just stopping, because it is for my own good. Yes, I understand that, but I feel like my purpose is to move forward and to overcome those challenges and overcome those obstacles. I don't see it as something that I cannot do. It's more something that I can overcome. And that gives me drive. I enjoy that. I love setting myself some challenges, whether it be very uncomfortable or whether it is comfortable. I see it as something that's fun and purpose-driven. I think by now I've proven to myself that I can overcome these challenges once I set my mind to it. And I knew that there was one thing that I had to do to really prove that I can push all boundaries, and that was obviously to enter the Comrades Marathon and complete the Comrades Marathon within 12 hours. In 2021, I had another operation, and obviously the same doctor operated on me, and I will never ever forget this moment. I was wheeled into theatre, lying on the gurney, and they were sort of hooking me up to all the gadgets, and my doctor was looking at the x-rays on the bottom right of the theatre room, and I said to him, Dr. Stead, I'm going to do the Comrades Marathon next year. And he sort of turned around, and he was obviously very frightened with what he had heard, but again, there was nothing that he could say that would change my mind, and he knew it. And I said to him, the next time you see me, I will have a Comrades medal around my neck.